Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Guys. It's another day, another dollar. We are back with a sit down video this time around. I know that I did promise you guys a video of how to go about doing interview tips. Woo! The promise has been long. It has run its course, and now we've gotten to the part where we need to start implementing, or rather taking the action and delivering on our promises. So I think for today, guys, I'd like us to share maybe 5 tips. Let's start off with the 5 tips, and then let's see how we can go about building up from that, and what else we would want to discover, want to talk about, or what questions you guys would want to know when it comes to that. So I am lonagelese, and this is my channel, but I'm based in South Africa. So I think this experience might be relevant to a whole lot of people, but also relevant into the industry that I'm in South Africa. So just to put that out there, so that when you are watching the video, you are aware where I am based and where I'm working. Okay, so guys, the first tip I'd love us to speak about is one. I think I'm going to write it on the screen, but I'd love us to speak about research. So one thing I've picked up is that in most cases, because people are under the pain or under the struggle of finding a job, so by default you are bound to apply to a lot of companies, not just companies that you would love to work for, that you aspire to work for, but generally because you are looking for a job. So day in and day out in your applications, you are bound to apply for companies. Some of them are those companies that you would not know or not even have heard of, right? But now let's say you are successful into getting a call from one of those companies. So they've shortlisted you and they're saying, okay, we're going to give you a call and would love you to come in for an interview. One thing that you guys fail to do is that you guys fail to do research on the company, right? You get there and now we are sitting in the interview, and now we're trying to explain the role, but also we're trying to explain how you joining the company would add value. And then we ask you, the question is, do you actually know what our company does? And then you go, I think I did. So for example, I work for a global company. And under the global company, you have different entities. You know, we all have one big name, but under that one big name, there's different entities and different specialties of things that we do. So it's quite embarrassing for me when I'm asking you as a candidate to say, but do you actually know what our company does? And you don't know. It's one thing for you to not know, which is embarrassing. It's another thing for you to say, to be honest, I really don't know. But from the research that I've done, it says that you guys are doing 1, 2, 3. That on itself is a good impression, because it means you took the time to go research, even though you're not sure with the answer, but at least you are giving us something to say. I was interested in this position. As a result, with me being interested after I got the call for the interview, I did go forward and I tried to do my research into me being able to answer this possible question that may came about my way. I hope it makes sense, guys. So rather than not having an answer at all, rather rumble an answer. But also, it's one thing to rumble a wrong answer, it's another thing to rumble something that's right about the way, to show that you went and did your research. So first point, please do your research. Take the time out when you're called for an interview and do your research. Hence also, as HR people, recruitment specialists, when we try and call you for an interview, we try and give you like a 48-hour notice, so that it gives you time to plan around your own schedule, but also it gives you time to prepare for the interview. Because one thing that we know, if you fail to prepare to fail. If you didn't prepare for the interview, you are bound to not do well at all. Does it make sense, guys? Okay, guys, so forgive me if there is a bit of noise in the background. South Africa load shedding just happened and the generator is on, but I'm gonna try and raise my voice and be audible enough, or project my voice in a way that you guys can hear me. So second point I was saying, guys, the second point is arriving on time. Guys, the essence of time, I can't stress that enough. There's nothing as embarrassing as arriving late for an interview, because by default, when you get there, already you are rushing, already you can't grasp, your breath. Already by the time you enter, it's like you panicking. Already sometimes people already, they enter into the room and you are like, are you okay? And you're like, there's some water on the desk. And you can see that this person already, even if they had anxiety before they got to the venue, but now their anxiety skyrocket up because now they are worried about the impression that they've already given us, right? So obviously as interviewers we different, because for me it depends. If maybe I have scheduled you guys in a way that you are running late, but there's someone who was supposed to come after you who's already arrived, I will inform the receptionist. Then that person who was supposed to go after, I'll say, let's rather interview that person first so that you can grasp some air, but also cool, calm, collect yourself and just combine yourself before you can enter the room. So it depends. Some people will be like, nope, you know what, after 5 minutes, if this candidate has not arrived, we're actually moving on to the next one, or we don't even want to take this person on because now this person doesn't respect time. And as we are running a company, or the company, the type of work that we do, we respect time. So it's quite a very crucial, important factor. Be on time. Rather be an hour early or 30 minutes early than arriving late. And for me, when it comes to being on time, I always take note of people that are there on time, because the minute they enter security or they enter the receptionist, they will call me and say, your interview people are ready. And I'll always take note to say, okay, but I have not gotten my reminder from my laptop to say in the next 15 minutes I've got interviews. And I'll note that down as soon as I enter that interview room. Once I've done introductions and I've welcomed you, I'll say to you, thank you for taking the time to come see us, but also thank you for arriving on time, because it means you value our time as much as we have taken your time out of your day, even if you're the one looking for a job. But it's always wise and important to also make the candidate feel comfortable, right? So those are one of the things that you guys get wrong. It's either some people will not ask the address while I'm calling them, because sometimes if you don't know the direction, ask the address. Ask me, please send me the address on email, or please send me the address on this number. Then also the night before, do your research. For example, if you're in Joburg, you guys know the traffic here can't be something that you're gonna say, but I know traffic going that way, it's busy, or how it's busy around 7 in the morning, around 10 it's okay. You can't estimate that. So you'd rather be early than late, but also you'd rather make sure that at the end of the day, you are giving off a good impression. Because the minute you're on time, the minute you're early, the minute when your interview has to start, let's rather be as the interviewers late than you being late, because also that gives a good impression that you're a person that values time, and meaning that also when it comes to your work, you will value your work, you will value your deadlines. So it gives us a lot of impressions, so that's my point two that I'd like you guys to consider, especially some people that would be using taxis or Ubers or all these things. Rather prepare in advance. And if you have an interview, let's say you are a person who's currently working and you've got an interview in the morning or in the afternoon, I always advise, I'll always ask my candidates, where do you work? Are you going to take a day off, or are you going to go to work, or are you going to work from home, whatever the case is? I always advise them, if it's in the morning, rather ask for it for a half day, so that the rest of the day you can actually knock off at 12 and go attend your interview in peace without even having to worry about going back to work, but you can prepare yourself well. If it's in the morning and then maybe they tell me that I really would love to come for the interview, but I actually have other commitments on that day, can we please maybe move it to such a time? I always try and accommodate the candidate, because I know that they wouldn't have applied if they were not looking for the job. So that's also something that you guys need to consider, arriving on time, but also maybe in future being able to communicate and say, this time does not work for me, can we maybe try this time, and hear what the interviewer says. Then you can negotiate upon that, right? So that was point number two. Point number 3, guys. Point number 3. And this one is a very famous question that any panel would ask you. It's often the opening question to you in an interview. And the question would go about, tell us more about yourself, right? So one thing that most people will do, or most people that will get wrong, is that the minute you ask them, tell us more about yourself, people will want to tell us more about their experience. They'll want to tell us, I was born here, then I went to high school here, then I studied tertiary there, then I started working in an internship, and then went to a graduate program, then my first job. So by default, if your interview is 30 minutes or 40 minutes long, you took 10 minutes of that interview explaining what is already on the CV, right? And that's the problem, guys. Tell us more about yourself. And in most cases, when I ask that question, tell us more about yourself, I don't want to hear about what's on your CV, because by default, when I'm screening, I have already looked at your CV. That's why I chose you to say you are a potential candidate for this job. But when I'm asking you, tell us more about yourself, I'm asking about you. I'm asking about Ulona. Who is Ulona? You know, hi, my name is lonagelese. I'm born and bred in Johannesburg, but originally I'm from the Eastern Cape. I don't have any kids. My hobbies are, I love reading. I'm a gym freak. I've got a YouTube channel. You know, I'm making an example. Tell us more about yourself. We want to know you. We want to see your personality shine and see, because before we employ you as an employee, employees are human beings before they're employees, and therefore we need to know, would you fit into the organizational culture? Would you fit into the space that we have in our company? Because sometimes you get that, oh, this person might not fit in because of the type of personality or the type of person they are, and this culture maybe might be too loud, or the environment might be too much for this person. So it's important that you get to understand, right? And you get to also say maybe that my expertise are that I'm good with problem solving, I'm a good communicator, I love working in a team, although I can also work alone. So you need to be able to give us that thing. The introduction, it's like when they talk about a speech, to say in a speech, you've got an introduction, body, and conclusion. So in a speech, you need to capture us in the introduction. You can maybe lose us in the body, but you must also capture us in the conclusion. And that's the same thing about a book. I'm a reader. So if I'm reading a book, the book must capture me when I start reading it. Somehow in the middle, you get lost, but you must understand the ending of the book. That's why some people will say they'll first read the ending before they can know they need to read the start. Anything is also like a movie. If the movie loses you in the first 5 to 10 minutes of it starting, by default, you lose interest in the rest of what's happening. That's the same thing as an interview. Soon as you get that opportunity of an interview, that's your first foot in that position or in that company. The next thing you need to do is that you need to impress us in an interview. You basically need to leave us with the thoughts when we're sitting as a panel and wondering, what did you guys think of Ulona? And we need to be like, wow, I loved her energy. I loved how she's good with explaining. I loved how she could give us scenarios. You know, we need to be able to give you things that we loved about you as a being, but also knowing that at the end of the day, you'd be able to fit into the company. And sometimes that's the worst part about it. Most people don't like going to an interview because it's like the reality of the fact that they hate the fact that they need to sell themselves. You can get a person that has passed with cum laudes from varsity. This person is smart. This person knows what they're doing. They've passed with a cum laude. But let them come to an interview, they will fail dismally because they are good at doing more than the practicality of having to show why they should be chosen. So it's important that, guys, you also need to find yourself practicing this. Look at yourself in the mirror, right? Practice the crowd. Practice yourself sitting in that chair, chest out. You're not going to be sitting there lying as if I don't know where you are at. But sit in that chair, chest out, cross your legs as a lady if you're wearing a skirt, you know, and then speak with confidence. Know that whatever you are saying, you are speaking it with confidence. Because the minute we can tell that this one doesn't sound sure about what they say, it becomes a problem for us. So even if you're saying something wrong, but the minute that you say it with confidence, even if we're going to correct you and say, actually, it's not that way, but it's this way. But we love the fact that you took that problem or you took that situation and you made it your own and you owned it, right? So that's point number 3. Point number 4, guys. So point number 4, right? It's important to be comfortable at an interview. So point number 4 is what to wear in an interview, right? It's important that as you go into this interview, you are comfortable in what you are wearing. You are comfortable so that you don't feel like the minute you are not comfortable, you also feel like the crowd is probably judging you for what you are wearing or not understanding your color schemes. So when I am giving mentorship to learners or students or graduates or whoever I'm advising on what to wear in an interview, I always say go for neutral colors that don't scream, colors that don't make you also get distracted as you're looking at the candidates. It's either it's black, it's either it's black and white, it's either it's gray, it's either it's navy, but go for colors that are, that don't really shout a lot, but colors that will hide even your speeches, or whatever, colors that make you feel comfortable. And it's also wise that as a woman, you don't have to wear heels to an interview, guys. You should see how sometimes it feels so sad to be in an interview, sit on the other side and have this lady walking in, and you can tell this lady can't walk on heels, but because they're trying to impress us as a crowd, we even wonder, we feel sorry for this person, because we can wonder now, this person is trying so hard to impress us, and we need to appreciate, this person. As a result, in most cases, I will always compliment and be like, you're looking good. Even if it's a man or if it's a female, I always try and compliment them because they've taken the time to dress up for the interview. But ladies, it's not a must to wear heels. You can simply wear a block heel, or you can even wear a nice flat formal shoe, or I don't know what type of a shoe, but something that you're comfortable in, something that when you walk through that door, we can see that you're walking with confidence and you don't have to wonder or worry or wonder if are they looking at me now or whatever the case is. Just be comfortable, because the minute you are comfortable, you're able to be your normal self, right? So it's one of those things which, when you're gonna go for an interview, rather look for colors that won't make us, also as we're looking at you, then we are like wondering, oh, what's happening here. Then if it's not what you're wearing that's distractive, or the boobies are out, also guys, let's try and just cover up for the sake of saying that now you are going to an interview. You don't want to be giving off certain things. Try and cover up, look decent, whether it's a blazer or it's a dress or it's a nice shirt or top, but just look decent and professional. It's important to look professional. But also, we don't want to be now looking at you with these colors that you're wearing. Then we sometimes get distracted in the face and the makeup or the drawing of the eyebrows. It becomes a lot of things that could distract you with the candidate, but you need to find yourself being comfortable being yourself. You don't even have to put on makeup. You can simply come in your natural face if you've got a beautiful skin, and just have lip gloss and just look good, brush up your hair, wear your wig, whatever the case is, but be comfortable. Okay, guys, right? And then the last one is that point number 5, it's behavior. So when I'm speaking about behavior, I'm speaking about the things that you can do in an interview and you can't do. I'm probably going to just touch base on certain things, but whatever you guys have got questions about, you can always ask me, right, in the comment section, and then we can discuss that on the next one. Behavior, guys. So it's important that when you enter an interview room, and it's an interview room full of people, enter the room and go, good morning, good afternoon. But it's important that as soon as you enter the room and there's people in that room, greet in a manner that they can hear you. Even if they were speaking among themselves, but greet in a manner that they can hear you and respond. Because sometimes you get into an interview room and then the person doesn't even greet them. Anything, the next thing they do, they just sit. Already, to someone who values greeting, or a person who says, but when you enter a room, you saw people, I don't need to know you, but it's just humanity to greet when you see someone, that by default will be a turn off to that person. Whether male or female, they'll just be like, This one I'm not sure I'll be able to deal with, because where did they leave their manners? So greet. As soon as you enter a room, greet when you get into that room, right? 2, I spoke about you when you get to a chair. If it's a chair that has a desk, sit in a way that maybe you can push yourself in and put the hands on your desk, or sit like this, but sit in a comfortable manner, right? You don't get to sit as if now I don't know where you are at or where you are thinking, but be presentable. Be a person that shows respect also to the people that are addressing you, right? Being a person in a dilemma that we can see you, and also we can just be able to relate to you. Then 3, I always advise that sometimes when you enter in a room full of a panel, it's not wise to enter and start shaking hands, because now it also distracts everyone else. But definitely shake their hands as you leave. After we have asked you, do you have any questions for us? You give us the questions, and then we say to you, okay, thank you. We are still seeing more candidates, but we'll be in touch with you regarding feedback. Then after that, you must go ahead and make sure that as you stand, after you've thanked us for the opportunity, as you stand, you go ahead and you shake our hands. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then you can leave in peace. Does it make sense, guys? So those are the 5 interview tips that I had for you guys today. I'm hoping you guys will find them informative and interesting. And if you guys do have any questions based on that, please do ask in the comment section, and then we can discuss more for our next sit down, which will probably be the part 2 of interview tips. Until next time, guys, I hope you guys will have a wonderful day further till we speak again. Bye.